Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's Carolyn, and today's video is going to be all about tarot spreads. So starting off, what is a tarot spread? Basically, a tarot spread is when you put the cards in different placements that relate to a general theme or topic. So if I was going to be doing a general reading, then some of the placements could be talking about my home life, my career, my relationships, my friendships, things like that. Then let's say you have a topic of love. Well, then let's say you're in a relationship, the reading could be talking about how you two get along, what your similarities are, and then what your differences are, how long-term the relationship is, or what the future of the relationship looks like. There's kind of endless possibilities. You can also be as specific or as broad as you want to. And with tarot spreads, they can have as many or as little cards as you want. There's some tarot spreads that are just 2 cards, and there's some that go all the way up to the hundreds, and you need to bring in an additional tarot deck to read them. I personally like reading with tarot spreads when I want to do a reading that's more structured and I have a goal that I want to focus on. So when I'm doing general readings and I don't really have a specific outcome in mind and I'm listening to the messages from spirit and the universe, I typically won't use a tarot spread. I'll just take my cards and ask my question and keep my question very broad and just let whatever cards fly out, and then I interpret them. But when I was just starting out and when I do want more specific answers, I will actually go and use the tarot spread. I feel like with tarot spreads, it's easier for me to get answers quicker, whereas if I was doing a general just asking spirit and having them give me the message, I might have to pull more clarifiers. I personally like tarot spreads when I am looking for a certain answer to a question. I'm trying to be as specific as possible. Typically for readings like this, if I don't have a tarot spread at hand for the topic, then I would use the Celtic cross. And I have my own version of the Celtic cross that I'll have linked down below along with other spreads if you want to check them out, that I find works best for me. Basically, the way that my Celtic cross works, it's that I shuffle all the cards. Some people, for their significator card, they will take a card from another deck or from the same deck that represents the person. I personally don't do that. What I do is I change that placement to be the true essence of the person or the situation that I'm reading for. And what I'll do is I'll shuffle that like a normal card, and then whatever card comes out, it gives me more insight into the subconscious of the situation or the person. And then we have the blocks, which is basically showing what is preventing this true essence from shining through. What is keeping the situation or person from being truly authentic to the energy that they have inside of them. And then we have the past, which gives us insight into what has already happened. And then we have the present, and I like that because I'm tapping into the person or the situation's current energy. We're getting caught up to speed, and we're understanding the whole dynamic about it. Then we have the desired outcome. I personally like this placement because it shows the person's true motives with their life, what they truly want out of this situation or out of themselves, what their goals and aspiration is. And then the next placement is what they need to do to make that desired outcome a reality. It shows them what changes need to be made in their life so that they can achieve that desired outcome. And it also shows us what is blocking them from that desired outcome, and that's why it hasn't happened yet. So it just gives more insight into their life and the situation. And then I have messages that you need to hear. You can get this from spirit, from archangels, from the universe, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's just a message that the situation or the person needs to hear. And this message can be about anything. It doesn't have to even pertain to the topic of the reading. It's just something that the person needs to hear. So if I'm reading for myself, it's something I need to hear. And if I'm reading for someone else, it's what they need to hear. And the next placement is where they're currently headed on their current path. And the reason why I like this placement is because energy is always changing. Our free will and the choices we make daily is constantly affecting and changing our future. Sometimes it's for the better and sometimes it's not. But regardless, we can always change our path. And so this shows me on their current energy, if they don't change, how close are they to achieving their desired outcome? Are they going to achieve it, but it's just going to be slightly different? Or is it going to be something that's drastically different? And this shows me how much of a change they need to make. How drastic is it going to be? How hard is it going to be? And how long is it going to take? Because if it's something where they're very close to it, but there's just something slightly off, then the adjustments are going to be a lot easier. But if it's something where it's completely different and it's opposite, then the work that they're going to have to do is going to be a lot harder, and they're going to have to actually be dedicated to making their desired outcome happen. And then I have their fears. And I like this placement because it shows what the person is fearing, what's mental and what's in their mind. This way we know we have to heal it and we need to address it, but we know that it's not something they have to actually be concerned and preparing for. If it's a fear, then it's a block that we have to break down. But if it's not a fear, then it means that what they're stressed and worried about is an external factor factor and they need to protect themselves from it. So that's why I like that, because it shows us what we're really dealing with. And then the last card is what they need to do next, and it's also my advice card. And so basically with how they get the desired outcome, that shows us what they have to do overall. But the advice and the next step is kind of what they have to do right away, how they can start to switch their energy and their vibration to get into alignment with that desired outcome, and how they can make that happen. And so the advice card is kind of like the first stepping stone, and then everything else can fall into place. So that's personally what I like to do with my Celtic cross. You can find tarot spreads pretty much anywhere. You can find them on Pinterest, on Instagram, looking online, and a lot of guidebooks for tarot cards and oracle decks have a couple spreads in them. And now let's say that you're not finding any tarot spreads that really call to you. You can always make your own tarot spread. If you want to make your own tarot spread, all you have to do is figure out what the topic is that you're trying to get answers and insight for, and then just write a list of what you want answered for. This can be questions or this can be categories. Whatever you want answered, just write a list of questions, and then once you have your questions, just label them for the different placements. So your first question could be the first card, and the second would be the second card, and so on. And another thing to note when you're doing tarot spreads, that one placement doesn't just have to be one card. You can always pull multiple cards for it if you're drawn. I personally will shuffle, and whatever cards jump out is what I put there. I don't really like to have a whole lot of jumpers, so if it's more than 4 cards, I typically put it back in and I reshuffle, asking the cards to be more concise. But I'll take 1 to 3 cards if it comes out, especially if it comes out multiple times with different shuffles for that placement. I will use them, and sometimes it makes it a lot easier to understand. And the reason why I like tarot spreads is sometimes it gives you a different perspective to see a card in. Because if you're just taking your cards and you're just shuffling them and seeing what message comes out, you might have to clarify more than with a tarot spread. Because with a tarot spread, it's like doing the clarifying for you. It's already putting a filter basically over the card so you know what messages you're picking up from it. And so what I mean by filter, it's, let's say that you take the Sun card. The Sun card has multiple different meanings to it, but a lot of times it talks about being joyful, being playful, relating back to your inner child, and it's also related to the solar plexus chakra, which is all about willpower and determination. Well, now let's say that we have the Sun card and we're doing a reading on ourselves, but it's in the placement of what is blocking us. Well, now if we look at the Sun card, it could be that you're being too optimistic over things, or you're running away from things, you're not actually dealing with them. And it's kind of like your kid, where you're not absorbing information, you're more so just bouncing around from thing to thing, trying to avoid your feelings because you can't really process them yet. See how the essence of the card didn't change, but with that filter, you're able to narrow it down. Whereas if we got just the Sun card coming out, just doing a reading for ourselves, we would probably have to pull a different clarifiers to get that same message to come out. So let me know in the comments down below, what are some of the tarot spreads that you like? Also, if you have any more questions regarding tarot spreads, just ask them in the comments down below and I would be more than happy to answer them. The next video in this series is going to be how you can cleanse your divination tools. So hit subscribe and turn on that bell notification so you don't miss out when I post it. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Have a good one. Bye.